I think that's a really, really cool point, and that's kind of what it feels like to me. I'm stuck on the record. It's my favorite used record of all time, and I've been listening to it like twice a day since we finished it. And it feels like this kind of cool mixtape. A lot of we only had one kind of goal going into the record, and that was to say yes to anything that was thrown out there and keep our minds open to any kind of idea. John Feldman is just kind of a wizard with production. I think that's where a lot of the new modern kind of cool sounds come from. But I think it is a little bit of what everybody has grown to love with the years. It's just the colors are all over the place.
Yeah, 100%. And there are some really anthemic songs on the new one. Like even like Wow, I Hate This Song. You know, the middle finger kind of to, I guess, the mainstream kind of pop stuff, but it still comes across really authentic. Like, what was the origin behind that? Was it just to have a bit of fun, or was it like an intentional, that kind of versatility?
Yeah, I think that it's like a lot of the really, really cool parts of this record. They started out as us having fun and goofing around in the studio. So it was initially, I've had this idea for years about just writing a song about this, how I hate this song, which pretty much is, I'm talking about every single fucking song in the whole world from the most dark and cynical side of myself. But it really turned into a song's connection and the ability to take us right to that spot, and how it ties us to that memory, and how that can sometimes be very, very painful when you live with a certain record during a really maybe important time, or maybe a really happy time in the moment, and then things change drastically, and that record, it just feels like that moment. Went both ways. I think it started out as this cool kind of bit of sardonic satire, a bit of like anger, but turned into like the one of the more heartfelt messages on the record. And that's just how music can kind of, it's like time travel. You can really feel, it's like food, it's like smell, it's that overwhelming as far as sensory overload. Songs kind of write themselves as you go.
Was there any other tracks on the record? Like considering like the size of albums these days from bands are typically, between 10 and 13 tracks. Going with 16 tracks, obviously it'd let you show a bit more of the different variation that you've got throughout the record. But was it a full record, or was it initially, all right, we'll choose our favorite songs?
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about not making an overwhelming I'm not making a long record, because the Canyon is like full double disc, 19 songs. But I think, as we moved forward in the writing process, a lot of these songs felt like they just were placing themselves in this story that kind of wrote itself. So yeah, not intentional, but there ended up being so many. There's almost 30 songs that were finished. So even to narrow it down to just these was tough. And even thinking back, like somebody will be singing a song like, oh man, I can't wait for people to hear that one. It's like, that one's not even on the record. It's coming, there's no rules anymore. So we do care about a record from front to back, and we always wanted to present our hardcore fans with like something they can put on and take a little journey with. But there's nothing stopping us from just releasing stuff randomly in the future as well. It's just put it all out. The more songs, the better. I just, I guess it just depends. Some songs right away if they're bad.
That's it though. But I mean, the whole writing process, like with John, I guess you could say was overdue to work with him again. But did it feel like, did you mesh back in how things were, or was it a bit finding your feet? Because obviously the musical journeys that you guys have taken as a band and the different parts of the industry, was it just like old times and kind of like seeing an old friend and recording, or did it feel, I guess, a bit more surreal now that the opportunity arose again?
I was definitely a bit nervous going into it and not really knowing what to expect. It was the first time I'd been to his new studio in Calabasas, and it'd been a little while since we'd even seen each other. Kind of been on different wavelengths for year or two, but truthfully, always been brothers. And yeah, I doubt anything could ever change that. So right away, it was like, oh, this old familiar, like your favorite pair of comfy pants, like a friend from your childhood.
Yeah,
It would always be a bit daunting to see them again. Like, I wonder if it would still vibe. And then once you see each other, you're like, oh, of course this would still vibe. This is like magic. There's some people, yeah, those relationships are lifelong. But it was, long overdue is a really cool way to put it. I think that what we did with Ross Robinson was magic, and it was really, really kind of challenging for the band, and made us a way better band. That's for sure. On tape and having to do stuff live without a click, and
but that's good that you can even recognize the changes and, like, you know, the growth as an individual and yourselves. Like, you have to go, you have to try different things to figure out what works. And it sounds like you've obviously now tried a lot of different methods, and you've got a lot of really cool results from them. Do you feel like going forth, like, you would do a self-produced, like fully self-produced record, or do you think you've now got that both feet exactly where you want them?
Yeah, I think anything's possible, 100%. I would just, you know, if we ended up doing, say, with our next record in 2021 or 2022, I would definitely miss that relationship. I think that I kind of really, really thrive off of working with someone that I'm not around a lot, and that a new influence, someone that can push me in a different way. And with Feldman, it's like just old brothers. It's like this, the writing process would shock most people. It was like, I mean, it's just, I don't even have any right to talk about it because it's just a dream. It's like we wake up, sleep in because they know I stay up super late, and so we start a little bit later in the afternoon, and then everybody just has coffee and sits around and talks and bullshits until we're kind of like, what should we write a song about? I'm like, well, I have this idea about writing a song about how I hate this fucking song. And it's this amazing, fun time. I feel like
it sounds a bit like a share house.
Yeah, like you're getting away with something that's kind of wrong. If this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life, then most of the time it's just like, holy shit, I don't believe it's true. So we try to stay really grateful and humble, if anything.
No, that's super sick. And I mean, I was going to ask you about, you know, touring and Australian tour and all of that. Obviously, that's been postponed for a while now, or like announcements and such. But are there plans to do an Australia tour this year? You know, virus permitting.
Yes, hopefully. The plan was later on, once it starts to get warm again, creeping towards the end of the year, we'll do a full Australian tour, and hopefully, you know, this thing and everybody is responsible and we kind of get through this thing as quickly as possible. What a crazy world, man.
100%.
What bad news for live music and touring. I feel really bad for some crew dudes that I know who that's their whole life, and there's so many people who are hurting. It's rough. So I mean, we're just trying to stay positive, and I guess the only thing that if it starts to feel really, really desperate, then just remember you will get to experience live music again. You can count on it.
100%. And until then, you'll have Heartwork to wrap your ears around in the coming months. But we'll have that to go listen to the discography.
Scream your heart out. Yeah. Stay home, you might as well listen to some tunes.
That's it, exactly. Support bands. Go and buy some more merch, and go and get some vinyl. And then, like, quickly on vinyl, do you have like does the band have a big input in what gets pressed to vinyl and like the variants and stuff, or is that more of the label decision?
Yeah, no, it's we're always pushing for more and more vinyl, but it's like, I think that like certain records kind of lend themselves to certain variants. I think that, I mean, for example, Heartwork, we made it the classic black vinyl because it just felt like that, you know, and different ones, kind of, yeah, the Maida Vale one that we just, the live from London stuff, we kind of had the option to do like a blue splatter on white, which was really cool. Yeah, I love all the different designs for the vinyl. I think it's something really cool.
Yeah, it's coming out super soon, April 24th by Big Noise Records. And is there any other stuff?
Tons of cool variants for the vinyl if you pre-order them as well.
That's it. There's some really cool, like the pre-order packages had some cool stuff. I think there was like a patch or a sticker or something that was like heaps, a nod to the artwork days, more or less. I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, our guy that did the cover, Cam Rackham, is a genius. Really, really in touch with the deeper side of music. It's awesome to work with people like that.
No, that's sick. Well, is there any other stuff you wanted to touch on during the interview, or so we got about a minute left?
Before they cut us off.
Yeah.
Love to all the youth fans who've been here for 20 years, man. We're so stoked to get out and play these songs live. So as soon as things allow us to do that, we'll be back. We'll see you guys really soon. Thanks for your time.